Hey DIYers, George here from Alarm Grid. Today I'm going to show you guys how to program in a wireless zone into your 2 gig edge system. So you guys just got a 2 gig edge, you powered it on, you have a whole bunch of sensors and you don't know where to start. If you are a DIYer, this video will be super helpful because I'm going to show you guys how to program in one sensor, and with that you guys can pretty much do the rest on your own. So the system actually holds up to 100 different zones, so that could be 100 different sensors, and it actually works with the new 2 gig encrypted series of sensors. It is backwards compatible with Honeywell 5800 series sensors, and it is also compatible with the normal 2 gig sensors as well. 2 gig has the encrypted ones and the non-encrypted ones. Honeywell has the 5800s. If you have Honeywell 6 series or Pro 6 series sensors, those will not work with the system. Only the Honeywell 5800s will work with the 2 gig edge. Alright, so couple of things you need to know before programming in a zone. You're going to need to know the installer code. So if you guys just bought the system, it's coming right out of the box. The installer code will always be defaulted at 1561. If you guys have had the system for a while now and are being monitored by another company and you guys try to enter in 1561 and it doesn't work in the video or as you're following along in the video, then it could be that the code may have been changed. So you want to make sure you guys have that installer code, as it's super necessary for a lot of DIYers out there so that you guys can program in your own devices. Alright, so just going to go ahead and light up my screen real fast and I'm going to get started. I'll be working with this normal door window sensor today, and I'll be pretty much just going through all of the options in a zone description and like the different things you can add into that zone field. So we need to get into programming. To do that, we're going to hit the little gear icon in the bottom right hand corner. It's going to ask you to enter in the code. This is where your installer code comes in handy. You're going to enter in 1561. Again, if it doesn't work, you need to get it if you're going to add in your own devices. From here, you're going to scroll down to Installer Toolbox, and we need to go into panel programming because we're programming in a sensor. So panel programming. What are we programming in? We are doing a wireless zone. As you see here, there's different ones. The system has built-in sensors. I think it has a built-in glass break. You can add in key fobs, key pads, image sensors, and you can also do some other advanced stuff, but today we're learning in this door window sensor. So you go to wireless zones. Now from here, it shows you all your zones available. They're all grayed out right now because I don't have anything programmed in, and so it takes me to my first one, which is wireless zone 001 or zone 1. You see all the zone information here. We're gonna go to edit zone. After I hit edit zone, we're going to start off with the equipment code. This is going to be the type of sensor you have. Now, if you guys are doing the encrypted 2 gig sensors, you need to make sure you use the correct equipment code. If you click on this little menu icon right here on the right side, it's the hamburger sign. It'll open up a list of different sensors to choose from. All right, so as you see, there's a lot of 2 gig. There's a lot of E-series 2 gig sensors. You want to make sure you use the correct equipment code, because if you don't, it could cause some unusual behavior on the system after you guys save the programming and back out to the home screen and everything. Alright, so for this, I'm just going to leave this blank on my end. As this is not an encrypted sensor, I'm just going to leave it as other. Some Honeywell, you'll see here, as I scroll through it actually, you'll see some normal 2 gig, encrypted 2 gig, and I think at the bottom you'll see HW, which stands for Honeywell. Alright, I'm just going to leave mine set to 00 for now because I actually don't need it for this sensor. The sensor type, again, it gives you the menu icon. You can look through the different options. This is going to be how your system responds whenever the sensor is tripped. Since this is a door window, it can be, I guess, programmed in as different options. It could be programmed in as an entry-exit. It can be programmed in as a perimeter. It can be programmed in as interior follower, as a panic, day zone, many different options. You want to make sure you're looking at the manual, or if you have any questions on if you need help figuring out what to do, you contact your company, or if you're monitored with us, you give us a call. We'll give you some suggestions to use. Since I'm going to use it as a door window, I can either use entry, exit, or perimeter. For the sake of the video, I'm going to show you guys after what it does when it's set off and what an alarm sounds like. So I'm going to leave it as perimeter. That means there's no entry delay, no exit delay. As soon as the system arms and the sensor is opened, the alarm will go off right away. All right, the TXID, that is the serial number on the sensor. Most sensors have it right on the back here underneath the barcode. Sometimes it's on the inside of the sensor, so it all depends what sensor you're using. However, instead of manually typing it in, which I can do if I want to, I'm going to hit the learn button. When you hit learn, the panel is going to go into listening mode, and that's where you're going to grab your sensor and trip it. I literally tripped it one time, and it brings up the TXID number. You can match that up with what's on the sensor, 0514623. That's exactly what's on the sensor right here, 0514623. I'm gonna go ahead and hit accept, and it learns in my serial number for me. Now, if you guys do the learn button, very important things to watch out for. If you guys have installed motion detectors and somebody just happens to walk by it, that motion will send out a signal, and the system may pick up on it if it's in listening mode. So be careful with that. If you're doing the auto learn, make sure the serial number matches up with the serial number on the sensor you have in hand trying to program in. All right, the next option is the sensor loop. The loops in sensors sometimes offer different functionality. So you want to make sure you're looking at the sensor manual, or you contact your company and have them help you. An example of a sensor that has different loops can be like a Honeywell 5816. Loop 1 is typically used for the internal read, and the internal terminal, so you can wire a contact to it, and loop 2 is used for the actual sensor acting as a normal door window sensor itself. So different loops have different functions on some sensors. So this one, I'm just going to leave it as loop 1. The voice descriptor. All right, voice descriptor. You can add in a voice description. So if you actually want the system to say front door, back door, side door, garage motion, kitchen smoke, you can actually add in, if you hit edit voice descriptor, it'll start giving you some different options up here. But for this, I'm going to type in living room. Because I'm going to make this my window. So as I start typing LI, it starts giving me some options, living, and then I'll type in room after, and it gives me the option for room. So living room, I'll hit done. All right. The sensor chime. This is basically whenever you trip the sensor, the system will make different chimes. It can do different options here. You can do voice only. You can do like a doorbell ding dong. You can include the voice name as well. So if you just want to hear the chime, if you want to hear the voice description. For this, I'm going to do chime number 1, and I want to hear the voice name. So I get the chime and the voice at the same time. Smart areas. The system has 4. Smart areas are what's known as partitions. If you're familiar with Honeywell systems, they call it partition. A partition is basically an area that you can independently arm from the rest of your system. An example could be if you have a guest house, if you have a detached garage, if you have an office in your home, if you're working from home right now and you want to arm your office and keep the rest of the house disarmed, you can actually set all the sensors in that area as a separate partition. That way you can keep one area armed and keep the rest disarmed. I'm not going to do any separate partitions today. Again, this is only my first sensor. This may come in handy for you. You can play around with it. So I'm going to leave it as smart area number 1. Smart area, aka partition. Transmission delay. This is pretty much how long the system holds on to the signal, the alarm signal coming from the panel before it sends it out to the alarm.com cloud service. Now, typically, the default transmission delay on most alarm.com systems like this one are 30 seconds. Now, you don't want to have, we don't recommend to have a transmission delay. We like to know as soon as the alarm goes off, we like to get that signal right then and there. If you guys have the transmission delay enabled, your system will wait that amount of whatever your system is programmed to wait at before it sends the signal out. That's why, that kind of gives, if somebody's breaking in, it gives them that couple of seconds to go in and do what they need to do and then get out. So that's why we like to keep it disabled. That way, there is no delay. It gets sent right away as soon as it goes off. All right. So I'm going to disable my transmission delay. Again, I don't know if you guys are using a different company, if that's going to affect you guys. Keep that in mind. Sensor reports. Oops, sorry, wrong option. Sensor reports. This is basically the sensor reporting to either the alarm.com cloud or sending it to the central monitoring station. You typically want to have sensor reports enabled unless there's an area that you don't want the panel to send out alarm signals on. Something like this may be like maybe a temperature sensor. Maybe if you guys have a temperature sensor, you necessarily may not want that to dispatch any authorities or go to the central station, so you can always disable the sensor reports, and you can disable the sensor reports and use that zone so that you monitor it locally only. It'll still go off locally at the system, it just won't send any signals to the central monitoring station. All right, we like to keep it enabled just because if you're being monitored, we'd like to give you guys a call at least and let you know there's something going on. Sensor supervised. We also like to keep this enabled. Sensor supervision is basically checking to make sure that the sensor has checked in with the system. If the sensor is not supervised, and let's say the battery runs out or it's too far away and it's not able to communicate with the system, the system, if this is disabled, the system isn't going to care if the sensor is checking in periodically or not. So sensor supervision enabled will actually have the system notify you if the sensor hasn't checked in. So if you have a sensor that's too far away or a sensor that's run out of battery and the system hasn't gotten a ping from the system will let you know, hey, there's something going on with this sensor. And that way you can go and check it. It might need a new battery. It might be too far away. Somebody may have tampered with the sensor. Somebody may have removed it. It may have gotten knocked off or something. You want to make sure you keep that enabled just so that you're aware of what's going on with your system and devices. After you're done with that, that's literally the last option. If you have more sensors to program in, you can hit next zone. I don't. I'm just doing that one zone. So I'm going to hit the back arrow key in the top right corner. All right, so I'm only learning in that one sensor for right now. So I'm going to go ahead and back us out to the main screen just to show you guys how this device will basically make the system act whenever I trip it. Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and hit the back arrow key all the way out to my main screen.
System disarmed. Ready to arm.
So right now it's ready to arm because I have the sensor closed. Once I move the magnet away from the sensor, remember I enabled the chime and I also added on the voice with it as well. So the system should do chime number 1 and it should also do the voice description once I move the magnet away, and it should go into not ready to arm. So here we go. You guys probably didn't hear that. It said living room, like very quietly. I'm sure there's a voice setting in here I can make higher. But basically it did chime number 1 and then it said living room. And then if I close it up, it goes back into normal. Now remember, this is set as a perimeter, which means there's no entry delay. This was just showing you what happens whenever the system is disarmed and you open up a window. The system will actually let you know, and it'll chime and do voice. Now let's go ahead and arm it away real quick. Right? Since this is a perimeter, if you open a perimeter sensor while the system is arming or after it's armed, there is no delay. The alarm goes off right away. Watch. This is what an alarm would sound like if somebody were to break in or open up a door sensor while your system is armed. You're going to enter in your code. Mine should be defaulted. It'll say alarm report already transmitted. Remember, my delay was 0. But since this system right now is not active, it's gonna basically, the transmission will fail. I'm just gonna hit OK for now. And then once you hit OK, you need to clear the alarm history. That way your system goes back into not ready to arm. You close the sensor back up, and boom, you're ready to leave the house and arm away or stay if you're going to bed. So you're pretty much gonna do those same programming for this sensor on every kind of sensor you have, whether it's a window, whether it's a door, smoke, a CO detector, a motion detector, glass break detector, flood detector, whatever it may be. You're gonna generally just follow the same steps I just walked you guys through in that video. There's a lot of different settings you can play with. If you guys have any questions, please don't be afraid to reach out. Our email is support@alarmgrid.com. If you go to alarmgrid.com and look at the number at the top of the website, you can also contact us there. If you found the video helpful, make sure you hit like underneath, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and hit the little bell icon so when we upload new content, you guys get notified. I'm George, and I'll see you guys next time.